Hey, Christy Mattoon from Rewire. As always, I'm glad you're here. Subscribe, like, share, do all the wonderful things that people can do on these channels to help promote the people that you're learning from, talking to, getting information from. I wanted to get on today because I've had people asking, what do you think? Like, what are you thinking? Not that it matters what I think, but people are asking, so I thought I would talk about it for a second. As far as our election goes, what is happening? What's going on? What are you noticing? What are you sensing? What are you feeling? My channel is all about reprogramming the human system, right? The physiology, the mentality, the emotional stability, all of these kind of things. And when you recognize that you have been programmed, you start asking, who programmed me? And the first thing we're told is your parents programmed you, which they did, but what else programmed you? Where did they get their information from? And then you think about that for a second and you're like, where did they get their information from? The obvious answer is their parents. And then you go down the line. But at some point you have to really go a little bit deeper and say, where did this information come from, right? The stuff that the schools teach, right? The people who you sat in classrooms of taught something possibly different than what your parents were teaching, which for some families became an issue, right? Sex ed classes and on down the line. Were they teaching religion? Were they teaching biology? Were they teaching Hinduism and not religion? Like there's all kinds of weird stuff that showed up in these classes, right? I'm untangling a tangle of mess here. And so you stop and think about that. What was my programming? And then we were sat in front of TVs, right? And I'm 50-something years old at this point. And, depending on what you watched and what era you grew up in, you were programmed by that information. The music that you listened to programmed you. It did. And we thought that was kind of a joke for a while. And, growing up in a Christian home, religion programmed you to think a certain way about certain things, including the music you listened to when your mother wasn't around. Right? So you end up in this weird dichotomy of what is and what isn't, what's right and what's wrong, what's not and what, I don't know, you start asking all these questions. And in the period of time we're in right now, the programming has become super loud. The idea that we are programmed with ideas that are not ours, with philosophies that are not ours, with information that other people want us to know, and it edges against you, right? Or you buy into it, you say, I think that's the correct information, but you just don't feel right. Something isn't right in the system, right? Your own physiology. Can you come to terms with whatever it is you're thinking about and get into a state of peace and hold that state of peace? Here's what you're going to find out. If it's not correct information as far as the field is concerned, if it's not valid information, if it's not good information, if it's not light information, your peace will not last. Your peace won't last. If you have true peace, you will be able to sustain that peace through whatever is going on around you. You will. And it's interesting, the difference in what you think you're fighting for all this peace and information and like, is Biden right? Is Trump right? The world is watching us going, what the heck? America is supposed to be the stable ground, right? And it never has been, right? There's people saying that it's communist China, right, that backs Biden. And if you buy into that, what does that make you feel inside? And then there's people say Trump is just in it for himself. He's in it to make more money for himself. And then you feel that and you're like, what does that feel like? And then you're trying to decide between the two, and what does that feel like, right? Or you're just like totally set because you bought into a party, right? I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. I'm one or the other, and I have to go with whoever shows up. And if that was one of these two, and you're just standing there going, right? Where's your peace? Where's your peace? It's not about them. It's about you, and it's about your peace. And when you come into terms with your own peace, which is your spirit form, it changes all of that, right? Is the fight still going to happen? Yes, it is. Are we about to go into American Revolution? We already are. And if you're in denial about that, you might want to open your eyes a little bit wider and dig a little bit deeper because it's about to happen. And I've been saying for years that there's a civil war coming, and I think it's coming faster than not. And I'm not saying that trying to scare anybody. I'm saying that trying to tell you, get into your peace. Because in that state of peace, you're going to be able to see things differently, and you're going to be able to fight for your civil liberties in a way that's very full of integrity, right? For you, because when you have to go answer the call and whatever that means to you on the other side, on this side, you'll do it standing there in integrity because you are in alignment with your spirit and you're doing what's right for you. Does it make sense? The conglomerate, the whole of consciousness, right, has an equilibrium to it. And if you are out of balance with the equilibrium of consciousness, you are going to feel like this is totally unstable and crazy. You're not at peace, right? You're not in communication with your own spirit. And if you want to fight and tell me, no, he's right, I'm going to look at you and say, I don't care. Because that's not what this is about. This is about your civil liberties. This is about, it's not about Trump. It's not about Biden. It's not about Republic. It's not about Democrat. It's about you. And it's about you being able to take control of yourself and standing up for yourself in places where we probably have never had to before, just because of how this is all playing out. Can you stay in peace and still stand your ground? Can you stay in peace and still stand up for yourself? Can you stay in peace and still, I don't know, look across all of this and become more aware of what's actually happening? Whether you subscribe to the conspiracy theories or don't, doesn't really matter anymore, right? What you think you know is true. My brother told me this when he died. And I've told this story 1,000 times if I've told it once at this point, because it just blew my mind. Don't believe anything you think you know. What does that mean? Don't believe anything you think you know. If you can get rid of your belief system about what you have been programmed with, what does that leave you? Think about this for a second. What does it leave you? Because if you're left standing there in turmoil, that means something in your system's out of alignment. That's all it means. There's energy misalignment. And if we can realign that, you're going to feel different. You're going to feel better. This is about you getting in touch with your own spirit, with the nature of who you truly are. Not the things you think you believe. Not the things that you're hearing all over the place. Not the things that are going to make or break this election. So what? So what? I did an interview the other day with Randy Weitenheimer. I want you to go back and watch that. And there's a part in there where he's talking about so what? And he's like, so what? How many presidents have you lived through? So what? Oh, it's going to change the state of the country. So what? And go through all of this stuff, right? It's this, it's that, it's the other thing. And then the next question, when you get to the end of all that, is, then what? Then what? Biden gets elected, then what? We have to fight for our lives. You have to fight against the vaccine. You have to feed your family. You have to pay a bill. You have to go to the grocery store. You have to get to the gas station. You have to wear a mask for the rest of your life. I don't know. Then what? And you get through all of that. Trump gets elected, then what? You're in fear. You're not sure. You're unstable, right? And I don't know. It could go either way, right? Maybe I feel great. Maybe I feel awesome. I feel safer with either one of them. Name it, however you think you feel about it. Then what? Keep asking yourself, then what? Then what? Then what? And then the next question is, now what? Now what? I have to live my life. I still have to contend with this first. I have to answer to this. I have to answer for this, not that. Right? You fight for whatever you think you need to fight for, and at the end of the day, you only sleep with yourself. Yes? Yes. Be careful where you're spending your energy. Be careful where you're spending your life force. Does it matter? Of course it matters. Are you in integrity with yourself? That's what matters. I don't think I've been on a soapbox for a minute, but I feel like that was a soapbox. I just want to bless you in whatever's coming up next, right? Whether this republic stands, whether our democracy stands, whatever you want to call it, or whether we fall and we have to start fighting side by side with each other, no matter what you think you believe. It's your civil liberties. It's my civil liberties, right? That's what's at stake here, is our quality of life, That's what's at stake here. No matter which one of them win, that's what's at stake here. I bless you. Thank you for listening. Please share this video.